Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. And in case things are looking different, I decided to use my other camera so the uploads could be quicker. So for my K-dramas and any drama review, we're going to be using this camera so it could, lower quality, easier upload, quicker upload. And the other videos will be on the other camera. So, bear with me, you guys. So we're here today to do Navillera Season 1, Episode 2 review. So we're back, and the episode begins with the instructor telling Chedok to teach Dukchil how to dance. And like always, Chedok was not having it. He was heavily against it, and the instructor told him that he had to do that or he could go back to dance school because he feels that he is wasting his time because he's been dancing here for free for years, and he's been teaching him for free for years, whereas he could take it back to the dance academy and be like the rest and try to make it out. And Chedok was like, all right, I'll work with him under one condition. I'll work with him under one condition. So then we get to the scene where we find Sugwon, which was Dukchil's son, who was the one that was like underdressed at the party at the last episode. Turns out he's a doctor. He is a doctor, so like he's technically the most successful one out of all of his siblings. So he was there talking to a fellow colleague about creating a documentary, and we don't know the name of this colleague, but the colleague was kind of pumping him up, saying like, hey, does your family not know about this documentary you're starting? I mean, we still don't know this documentary because all he said was no. And then we get to the next scene where we get Sungsan, and he is being very critical of his daughter Eunho. Like, just like on the last episode, he told her you don't want to be a loser like, Sungwon, who's actually a doctor, but he was telling his daughter you don't want to be a loser like him. But in this scene, he was being very critical with his daughter. And then he was just being very hard on her. He was just telling her like, oh, now you work here, you're part-time, you're going to be full-time, and from full-time, you're going to move up the ladder. And then the daughter was like, let's not be over-ambitious. I just started working. I don't even know how things are going. And he just looked at her and said, when I was in your shoes, I knew my next step. And you can't go far in life if you don't know your next step. And I felt like that was kind of like, that was so unnecessary. Like, I could tell that this father is a very type A, like, I don't even know what's a type A, type B, type C, just type strict, okay? Type S, type strict. Yeah, that, not good. So then we shift to Moonyoung, which is Chedok's father, and he was just getting settled into his new job as a soccer coach. And it was really nice because it was just a quick little parallel in this scene. He, went to see the facility. I think it's like it's just a school soccer coach for just a school. They didn't say high school, whatever. It just looked like, I'm gonna say middle school to high school soccer coach. And then the guy who was showing him around, towards the end, there was like a parallel scene where you see Chedok coming home from recital, from practice, and his father received a bag of tofu from his new boss. And he says, my wife prepared it for you. And you see Chedok preparing tofu and ramen. So it was like a parallel because they're both eating that. And the symbolism behind it was that his mom, Chedok's mom and Moonyoung's wife actually prepared tofu ramen for them every night for dinner before his dad went to prison, before she died. That was so unnecessary. But then it shows them eating, well, Moonyoung got the tofu, and then it shows Chedok eating it, and then you hear an overshadow of the mom talking about preparing tofu ramen. Scene with Dukchil, and he's like lifting weights, training, getting ready, and he was just preparing for ballet. And then that was a quirky scene because he was trying to just do what he can so he could prove to them that he can be a ballet dancer. We get to Sungwon, and he meets his father at the park, and he finds him exercising. So then he asks his dad, what are you doing? And the father was just saying, oh, I'm just here wandering. When in reality, the mother sent Dukchil out to go look for Sungwon so he could tell him, hey, go back to working in a hospital. But then Sungwon beat him to it and said, hey, I do not want to go back to the hospital. I do not want to go back to being a doctor. I am actually happy with what I'm doing, which was being a documentary maker. So I'm guessing photography. And then his father tell him, just tell your mother that you're happy with what you're doing, and sooner or later she will give up. And I felt that, but I feel like that was not the case. That was not the case here, because it seems to me the mom is dead set on him being a doctor. So then, and he also told him, answer your mom calls and just tell her. Soon she'll give up, but I don't think that's the case. And then we find the other son, Song-san, who was outside his parents' house because his wife wants to work. And it's been 20 years since she's been working. So he was sitting outside confused and not knowing what to do. And that's when Dukcho came and told his son, hey, what's the matter? And he says, I'm so confused. I don't know why she wants to work. Adon, his wife. And he says, because she's been a stay-at-home wife for 20 years. And it's weird that she's going to work after being a housewife for 20 years. And that's when Dukcho told her, he remembered 20 years ago. That's when Unho, their daughter, was like a very small child, and then the mother was delivering beef stew. And when she went, she heard a baby hysterically crying, and it was Unho. So when she went inside, she found Unho alone, crying hysterically. So she tried to comfort Unho, while at the same time looking for Adon. So when she looked for Adon, she found out that Adon was at the balcony, crying hysterically, and we can assume she was going to self-harm. And then that's when Dukcho told his son, Song-san, that, hey, your wife is free now. Like, basically being a housewife was not worth it. She was suffering for 20 years. Like, there were scenes you did not know where your wife wanted to just not be there anymore. So he tried to tell his son, try to take a moment. Your kid's grown up. She's getting her own career. Now let your wife get her own career. And it seems to me that Song-san is the one to, like, be very strict and controlling. And that's when Dukcho told him, relax, let it be, because everyone's doing great. You do not need to control everything. And I agree with that. Like, you've worked this hard, your family knows better, everyone knows better, and even if they didn't, it's their life. Let them figure out themselves. Like, it really shouldn't be that demanding. Like, I hate family dynamics like that. Practicing, he was finally able to susu, which basically translates to one foot in front of the other. So, which is a ballet technique that he was actually going to be tested on. So, and Cherok and the instructor were ready to time Dukcho. So he had to do his susu. So he did it, and it was a minute. He had to stay in that pose for a minute, and the show really showed the 1 minute time lapse. Like, that was like the longest minute. It was showing like his memories, all that. And I remember I was checking the bar of the show. It was a minute. So he was standing for his susa for a minute. And then on top of that, Cherok was hoping that he was not going to pass. Like, he was hoping that he'll give up around the 30-second point. But Dukcho was not giving up. Dukcho said, I came here to slay, to conquer, and to fight. And he did all of the above. He passed the exam. And then when he passed the exam, that's when Cherok confronts him after and says, why ballet? Like, I don't understand. And then that's when Dukcho told him he just wants one time in his life to perform in the Swan Lake. And that's it. Cherok thought it was a joke, so he just let him go. Tries on ballet clothes. And he was shopping around for ballet clothes, and then he texts Cherok for advice. And then Cherok is over here getting ready for his part-time job at the restaurant. When he saw the text message, hey, thanks to you, I want to know what can I wear for ballet. Cherok he was utterly disgusted. He said, how he get my number? Why he's asking me this? And then his coworker was so confused, like, hey, what's going on? And he was just like, I'm going to make his life so hard that he's going to want to quit. And I was like, girl, if you don't stop, like, and it was unnecessary. It was very unnecessary. Dukcho visits Gyeoksuk's gravesite, and he tells him excitingly, hey, I'm, about to learn ballet. I'm going to start practicing and dancing. And if you see how happy he was, it was kind of sad to me, because it was like, this is the only person he could share with, because his family doesn't know that he's practicing ballet. His family doesn't even know that he's training. He lies to them whenever he gets the chance. And it's kind of sad, because it's like, I feel like you did what you can. You got this family. Why not? You got your family. They're grown. You got a doctor out of it. You have a son who's like type strict with a daughter who's like trying to be the next CEO of, Chicken and Bucks. So what's the issue? So he was so excited to tell him all the things. And then that's when we get to the next scene. We're at the next scene where Cheto trains Duck Chill to do ballet because he passed the exam, and they were stretching, and supposedly they were supposed to just learn and practice, but Cheto took it as training where he made him do the actual. Duck Chill did everything in his power to show him, I am here for this, and he was not letting him break a sweat, and I'm here for it. Oh, another thing. Chadwick in his ballerina suit is giving me Beyonce single ladies tease. Like, I'm sitting here like, okay, listen, old man got it. Okay, he got a little body, yaddy, yaddy, but like, come on, let me see what you're working with. 80. Hello. He said, listen, I'm serving. He said, I'm serving. This may be my dream, but I'm gonna make it a reality. And I was like, come on. Come on, Duck Chill. Yeah, he was giving me Beyonce single ladies tease. Like, Cheto is probably what? LaToya Luckett. So, Cheto and Duck Chill went to his orthopedic clinic, and then that's when the doctor was telling Cheto all the issues that he has going on, and then Duck Chill introduces himself as his manager. That was a news flash. And it turns out, yeah, so I guess the condition, not the condition, I guess what the setup is, he is going to manage Cheto to make sure he stays on top of his ballet, while Cheto makes sure that Duck Chill knows how to do ballet. So I feel like it's an even exchange because they both gonna grow together. So I'm here for that symbiotic relationship, And he told the doctor, like, oh, his back also has a problem because he's been like grunting, and then the doctor said yes. He needs to be on rest, but he doesn't want to be told that. So I guess we're gonna put Cheto on rest because the upcoming scenes, he was not doing any ballet. He's on bed rest. Well, not really on the bed, but he's on rest where he's working at his friend's restaurant offering help to do delivery. So that was the case. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So, after they left the center, the clinic, oh, and it was also recommended that Cheto do acupuncture, and Cheto said he hates needles. And then the doctor and his manager were very persistent. It was like, acupuncture it is, needles it is, and no more dancing, rest. So that was the tone. So then Cheto didn't like that, so he stormed out. And then as he was walking out, that's when Duck Chill wanted to bond with him. And he says, hey, do you live alone? Where are your parents? And then he says, I live alone. Are you happy? And he says, oh, what about your parents? And then he said, my mom passed away. My dad lives somewhere else. And then instead of Duck Chill going, oh, miane, he goes, my parents dead too. We had so much in common. As he's dancing in the middle of the street, Cheto just go, yeah, all right, I'm out. So then we get to the next scene, and it begins with an angry customer at the restaurant that Cheto works part-time, as well as Sung-sun's daughter, Eunho. And this customer was so angry, he starts yelling at Eunho, asking for a dish that is only seasonal and is out of season. As Eunho tries to tell him that's a seasonal dish, he interrupts her, yells, and go, do you not know who I am? And she just sits there and tries to like handle it professionally, and she apologizes and says, hey, we do not have it. And then he kept yelling and yelling, and then as she tries to show him a recommendation, he takes a napkin and throws it in her face and says, I want this dish. And I'm watching this scene like, ain't nobody in there gonna step up? Because I saw a whole lot of men in that scene just standing there looking at her like, part-time up. And I'm sitting here like, you know what? I said, okay, we doing this. So no one showed up, and the man kept getting very angry and very hostile that he starts hitting the table, and then Cheto appears and says, you need to leave. And the man go, who are you? And then he says, I'm a part-timer here, and I've seen enough. You gotta go. And then the guy starts yelling at him, and then Cheto starts yelling at him saying, we got cameras, so if you want to go, you can go, or we're going to report you. And I sat there and I was like, okay, we stand. And the guy just, like a punk, got up and leave. It serves him right. Pero then was throwing out the trash, and Unho follows while throwing out the trash as well. She thanks him for like helping her, and then he tells her she needs to learn to not be a pushover, because if she allows one customer to get angry and hostile, then all the other customers will come and get angry and hostile. And he tells her she needs to get a backbone and some self-respect. And that's when she said to herself, yes. And it kind of like triggered in her, because her father, when he was going off on her earlier in this episode, she told him, I am working hard enough and I know myself and my self-respect. So for Chero to throw that in her face, it kind of triggered her, because she stood up to her father, which is probably like a big monument for a lot of us when it comes to like standing up to people, like standing up to your strict parent. And then for that to be thrown in your face by a fellow colleague, I know she was real effed up in the head. She was just like, I know you not talking to me like that, but hey, self-respect, theme of the episode. We get to the scene where Chedok decides to help a friend at a restaurant. Like I mentioned earlier, now we're at that scene. We get to the restaurant where he's helping his friend do delivery. But on his way, he also bumps into Blondie. In case nobody remembers, Blondie Hobum. He runs into Blondie, and Blondie asks for his business card, and Chedok just ignored him and said, listen, girl, exit. She has your name on it. Get to it. So then we see Chedok at the restaurant helping his friend with delivery, and at that same restaurant, Dukcho was actually eating dinner there. And then when Dukcho saw Chedok there, he said, because the doctor put Chedok on rest, so then he was so quick to yell at Chedok, and then Chedok had to stop and say, no, it's okay. To the point that he covered his meal and told him, listen, I'm not doing this for extra income. I'm literally here to just help a friend. I'm not dancing. I'm not doing anything, which was really cute. So then that's when Dr. said, sure, you know what? Let me help you too. And then he said, no, I'm okay. And he said, no, I don't want you to put extra stress on yourself. Let me help you. So like you prepare the food and we could deliver it together. So he could put like less stress on Chedok's back. Chedok said no, but then after a while he gives in and he lets him do it. So then they get the next order, and it happened to be from Blondie. Blondie ordered something. I hope it was spit and kimchi, because it wouldn't be me. It wouldn't be me. So Blondie ordered, and Chedok had to deliver it because he's helping with deliveries. So when Chedok gets there, he saw that it was Blondie's order. So then as he puts the food down and gives it to Blondie, Blondie says, I'm not paying for it. And he takes his chopsticks and throw it in his face. And then Chedok just stand there and goes, girl, what? And Blondie says, I'm not paying. And then as he gets up, he grabs Chedok by the neck and he says, you're going to be dead meat tonight. And as soon as he was going to, Dutch appears. And then, yeah, he appears. The episode ends there. And now we get we get into scenes of what the next episode is going to be. But, I didn't watch that because I was like, you know what, we got to get to the next episode. So overall, this episode, I give a B+. It was really good. I really like it. They tied in the knots with everyone's story. And now we're getting to the juice of the series. So I'm excited. I give it a B+. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment. Let me know you stopped by. And send in a request and let's watch more shows together. So yeah, thank you and take care.